Here are 5 things that you should do with your money when you're in your 20s. I applied most of the things on this list. I think it's what enabled me to have a 6-figure net worth by now that I'm over 30. But I wish I had done all of them, and each one of them even more intensely and also earlier. So please learn from my mistakes. If you're new here, I'm Sophia. I'm a doctor from Germany and I love to talk about money, but that hasn't always been like this. And in my 20s, I wish I had the perspectives that I'm about to give you now. So let's dive in. Remember Nicolas Cage? He earned millions and millions of dollars in his career and he still ended up broke. And that's because at that time he didn't know how to keep his money. And you keep money by saving it. And that's the first thing you should do with your money in your 20s is save. You need to have a dedicated place like a high yield savings account in the beginning where you regularly put your money, and it doesn't matter how much it is. You can start with $5 a month, I don't care, because it's not about the amount, it's about understanding and learning always means implementing, that you need to save money if you want to build wealth. So it's about building the habit. Also, in your 20s is the time where you can easily get off with living off almost nothing. It doesn't even matter if you're a student or not. When you're young, no one expects you to have anything or have this extravagant lifestyle. And then you get your first salary, but you're still used to living off almost nothing. And it will never get easier to save than in that time. Because the reason why for most people saving seems so hard is because they feel like they have to sacrifice something in the now. And once you're adapted to spending all your income, it'll be much harder to go back from that. But when you don't even get used to spending your whole income because you save, it will not feel like you're losing anything because you still have more than you had before. So there really is no better time to start saving than in your 20s. And what held me back in my 20s to save even earlier and also even more was that belief that I'm not making enough money to save. But the truth is, if you're able to buy food, you have money. And the source doesn't matter. It doesn't matter if it's from your parents or if it's from your job or if it's from the government or I don't know. You will have some source of money, and that means that you can save. Now, a similar belief that also held me back, and I actually started reading books about finance and about financial freedom when I still was a teenager. But for some reason that, to be honest, I still don't fully understand, I didn't start investing back then. And it took me years to finally get started. So my number 2 is invest your money. Now, I invested into the stock market. That's also what I recommend on this channel. Subscribe if you want to learn more about that, because it's easy, you don't need a lot of money, and besides from doing research, you also don't need a lot of time. And the reason I recommend putting your money into the stock market is because your money compounds. Compound interest is one of the most powerful tools to have in your pocket when you want to build wealth. And you can maximize compound interest when you start young. Let me show you an example. Let's take Nadia. She starts with $0 and she puts aside $500 each month, and she starts at the age of 20. Now let's assume an interest rate of 6% per year. At the age of 60, she will have almost $930,000 just because of compounding, and that's still a couple of years before the official retirement. And on the other side, let's look at John. John also starts with $0 and he also puts away $500 per month, but he starts at the age of 35. Now let's also assume an interest rate of 6%. At the age of 60, he ends up with $330,000. That is almost a third less than Nadia just because he put it off until his 30s. Now maybe you say, who wants to wait that long to have that kind of money? Well, there are other ways to make this process faster, but either way, at least in America, the majority of people say that they think they would need $1 million to retire comfortably, but what they actually have is around 100K. That's a 10x difference. And as you've seen in John's example, the later you start, the harder it will be for you to keep up. Harder as in you need to invest more and more money. Or maybe you say, how am I supposed to put aside $500 per month? And it doesn't have to be that much in the beginning. It's like with the first point, it's about building the habit, but also to learn that as soon as you have the money, to let it start working for you. Because as you keep going in life and also, evolving in your career, this will become more, much more, even beyond $500 if you keep refining. defining. So what I, in hindsight, underestimated in my 20s is how much time I actually had. And that may sound weird because, I mean, I still have the 24 hours per day now, just like I had back then. But the obligations and in a way also the pressure was less back then. For example, it wouldn't have made a difference in outcome for me to study a couple of hours less for an exam that I actually did. I still would have passed, I still would have had that degree. And don't get me wrong, I mean, I learned a lot during my studies. I wish I had even learned more in that time, especially outside of uni. So my number 3 of what to do with your money in your 20s is invest in yourself. It may not feel like it right now, but your 20s are actually the best time to experiment. Experiment and figure out what you like doing and what you don't like doing. I remember when I was in med school, we had to do several internships. And this, of course, all of them were in the field of medicine, but you could still choose a different specialty for the internship. And some of the other students, they already knew exactly what specialty they wanted to do later. Like, for example, become an eye doctor. And they did all of their internships, at least the ones that you could choose yourself, because there were some other that were obligatory. But they chose all their internships in ophthalmology. And I didn't understand that. When you already know that this is what you're going to do for the rest of your life, now is the only time for you to see something else. So that's what I did. I knew that I wasn't going to go into surgery. So for my internships, I chose surgical specialties. But my point is, no matter if you're a student or not, do internships or do different jobs, even when they are outside of your box. Like, I don't know, go to Greenpeace and then later go to a crazy corporate consulting firm or investment banking. Do opposites to get this big scope, because the variety and also the possibilities in the world we live in are so great. And the more you see in your 20s, the more you will benefit later. Because then you come from this wide background and you can narrow it down. Narrow it down to what you really enjoyed, also narrow it down to what people you want to work with or what circumstances you want to have later in life. Because in that time, you can only learn and it costs you nothing. Or almost nothing. And this experimenting and also investing in yourself includes start a side hustle. I didn't even know that side hustles were a thing until I was over 30. But to start something, anything, and try to make money on the side, it's invaluable. You will learn so much. And of course, investing in yourself also means read books, go to seminars. If they are expensive, then watch YouTube videos instead of TV, and the ones where you learn something. Because I mean, the knowledge you can consume from this platform, it's astonishing. And it's completely free, except for the couple of second ads in the beginning of the video and occasionally clicking the like button if you find a video helpful. So use it, use all that knowledge. My number 4 will also be experimenting, and that is experimenting with risky investments. Because your 20s are also an excellent time to take risks, just because you have plenty of time to recover from them. And also the lessons here will be so helpful. Now, if you're anything like me and you don't have a lot of money in your 20s, then experiment only with very little money. It doesn't matter. It's about the learning. And of course, there's also no need to lose all your life savings, because you still need to have something left for the other things on this list. But just try it out. Like I said, it's all about learning. And had I discovered Bitcoin when I was still a student and kept it, I would be in a whole lot different financial situation right now. Maybe. And of course, also spend some money on experiences. I would say not all of it, because, you know, in your 20s, there's no need to fly business class into a 5-star resort. Just buy a bus ticket. I will not recommend hitchhiking, even though it's free, just because it's dangerous. But you know, buy these, I don't know, discount bus tickets or discount train tickets. And then sleep in a hostel. In that time, in your 20s, it's all about really the experience and seeing new things, seeing new cultures, and not so much about the comfort and the luxury that accompanies the experience. That will come later. If you want to learn more about my mistakes, but also my thoughts on money mindset and strategies around personal finances, I invite invite you to subscribe to my weekly newsletter. It's completely for free. You can sign up below and you can cancel anytime. Thank you for watching. Let me know if you have any questions or any insights or any comments. And I'll see you in the next video. Bye bye.